The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components' location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Quincy, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37090. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Starting on the passenger side face of the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving to the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving to the driver's side, you'll find dual air horns. Let's move up onto the cab face. On the outer edges, you'll find turn indicator marker lights. Just inside that location, you'll find the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Above the headlight structure, you'll find a cluster of emergency warning lights forward facing. As we move to the Pierce logo in the center of the grille, you'll find just behind that logo is the release mechanism to gain entry into the hood area. There are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the outer edges of the cab, you'll find convex and flat mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 ID clearance lights. And as we move all the way up to the top of the ladder area, you'll find additional emergency warning lights forward facing. Let's take a look at some of those items. First, here's the front bumper extension. On the side, you'll find an emergency warning light. This is an example of the release mechanism directly behind the Pierce logo. Let's take a couple looks here at the full passenger side of the vehicle. Let's focus in on the cab of the vehicle. And then we'll take a quick look at the body. And we'll move around now to the driver's side. Full view. Focus in now on the cab. And then we'll take a look at the body. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus and then we'll get started. Let's move into the driver's space. First, affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning placards. You'll find a door lock and latch, 4 window controls, and a grab handle. As we move to the step well, you'll find a recessed air inlet. As we move just up about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This also has the VIN number and all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity type, and also fluid capacities. On the floorboard, you're going to find your mechanical siren foot pedal. About the left knee of the operator, we'll find the tech module, engine transmission diagnostic ports, and also display port. You'll also find your ABS diagnostics and engine diagnostic switches. On the very bottom section, you're going to find your regen inhibit and DPF regen switch. Let's move up to the dash. At the lower portion of this image, you'll find the master battery. It is a 1/4 turn red switch. As we move over to the left side, you'll find your 4-way flashers, start and ignition switch. You'll also find a switch labeled EM, that stands for Emergency Master, and it will engage or disengage all emergency lights. As we move to the right, you'll find your headlights and also panel switch allowing you to brighten and dim lights within preview of the operator. To the right, the high idle indicator and OK to engage switch. Moving on to the left, you'll find your water temp, oil, def level, and transmission temp. On the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front and rear air. In the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer, in addition to the digital readout just below the speedometer. Let's look just to the right where you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond. To the right, you'll find the Pierce Command Zone. Tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. It is a touch screen and also has function buttons below. To the right, you'll find the Allison transmission pad push button digital readout with an information note to pump in drive. Let's move just to the right of this location. We've got a few switch panels. First, aerial master, aerial PTO, platform leveling, and stabilizer cameras. Just below that, you'll find your generator PTO and any future switches. Let's move down to the next set of rocker switches where you'll find your engine brake on and off switch, a settings for that engine brake for low, medium, or high, off-road traction, front wheel lock, and mirror heat. Let's move now just to the right. You'll find your pump shift. There are instructions for your pump shift from road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. Just as a reminder, you need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, for pump operations before exiting the cab. You'll also find some caution and warning information. Disengage the retarder when the vehicle is on wet or slippery surfaces. As we move to the top, you'll find the mirror controls for the left and right mirror. You'll also find climate control at the very top section, heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Let's take a quick look around the top of the vehicle, and we'll start with the yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 12 feet 3 inches, the length 47 feet, gross vehicle weight rating 84,000 pounds. As we move to the left, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning. In the next section down, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, and high beam flash. Moving to the right, you'll find your scene lights. We have driver scene, passenger scene, deck lights, tip tracking lights, air horn, siren brake for your mechanical siren, and then a load manager. Let's move further to the right where you'll find your traffic advisor. Let's move just to the right of this location. You'll find the siren control module and also PA speaker system. As we move to the center, you'll find a seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. You'll also find a do not move your apparatus if this light is flashing, indicating you may have a compartment open. You do have air conditioning over the top section. We do have an additional warning information placard also. General view overhead of the driver's position. Let's go exterior now, and we'll start first with the door lock. You do have keyed door locks. They're easily accessible with a gloved hand, and also you'll find your auto eject system. This is the Shoreline Inlet 20 amp auto eject. When plugged into Shoreline power, your battery voltage charger will activate and charge the batteries. As we look to the front axle, you have a visual sight gauge for the front axle, Alcoa wheels, and Michelin tires. We're now to the rear section of the cab where affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. You'll also find a red grab handle for gaining access in and out of the cab at the hinge point. As we move inside, you'll find 2 rear-facing SCBA seats. As we look in between the 2 of those, lift and turn latch gains you access to the rear section of the engine where you'll find your daily checks for oil and transmission. On the rear cab wall, you'll find 2 seats forward-facing that house SCBAs also. Just underneath, under the pedestal, you'll find an additional storage location, ventilated, lift and turn latch gains you access. This is your Shoreline power, which allows you to maintain your batteries when it's plugged in. Let's move now to the exterior portion. We'll start at the very top section of the pump panel. There are 2 discharges at the top section, number 1 and number 2. These are both 1.5 inch discharges. We also have a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard because of those lines coming from aloft. As we move to the right, you have an additional pre-connect. This is a 2.5 inch cross lay. As we move downward from this location, we'll start with the gray area, which is your master intake gauge and also your master discharge. You'll also find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged, and these are for testing purposes. As we move down, you'll find the number 1, number 2 cross lay and the 2.5 inch cross lay. Further down, you'll find your minimum operation maintenance schedule on the left placard. We'll go over that in detail in just a moment. To the right, you're going to find the number 1, number 2, and number 3 discharges. These are 2.5 inch discharges. You'll find your pressure throttle governor at the top section. Right next to that, you'll find an audible speaker alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen or brighten the sound.
As we move to the right, the switch panels, you'll find an indicator indicating OK to pump. It is a green light. You'll also find some additional switch panels here. As we move to the right, you'll find your engine cooler. That is a twist, not a pull. And as we move down, you'll find the aerial discharge. Moving just to the right, you'll find your tank fill and recirculating line. Moving further to the right, you'll find a warning placard indicating if you're climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing. As we move down, you'll find the passenger side large diameter discharge. It's the green identifier. And then to the right, the tank to pump. Moving further to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air prime with a warning plaque indicated that at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. As we move to the bottom, water tank level indicator. Let's move down on the pump panel where we'll find two 2.5-inch discharges. As we move to the right, you'll find a warning placard. These caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. The Pierce American Flag Eagle logo is your large diameter pump inlet. And as we move to the right, we've got additional information regarding your minimum operation maintenance schedule. As we move further down, you'll find the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. It's a female inlet locally controlled via a ball valve. To the right, you'll find the Wattress placard indicating the type of pump that you have and its capacity. To the right, you'll find your main pump drain, and then just underneath that, you'll find the manual pump shift. Let's go ahead and take a look at those placards once again. Let's start with the Wattress placard. You have a CSU 2000 GPM pump. As we move to the right, the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. On the left-hand side of the placard, you'll find the associated GPM at that specific test pressure, and to the right, you'll find the RPM at that specific test pressure. 5-digit job number in the upper left-hand corner. Governed speed also listed on the placard. As we move now to the pump panel, you do have a pull-out and fold-out step. As we move now to the very top section, this is directly over the stabilizer, and that's your stabilizer camera. We do have a warning placard here regarding crush injury. Because of this device moving in and out, up and down, there's the possibility of crush injury. As we move just underneath the compartment, you'll find two folding wheel chocks. As we move into the compartment itself, you'll find in the lower section a pull-out tray. The release mechanism is located on the right. An adjustable shelf. I would like to point out in the upper left-hand corner on the vertical wall, this is where you're going to find the G1 breaker panel. This is for your generator. As we move down, you'll find the generator control module and then also a shoreline inlet on the left-hand side vertical wall. Here's a close-up of that G1 individual circuit breakers. Let's move from this location to the next compartment. This is going to be directly over the two tandem axles where you'll find the blue cap, which is your DEF tank fill location. Also a warning and danger placard here indicating that your ladder is not insulated, electrocution hazard. You'll find two SCBA bottle storage locations in between the two axles and an emergency warning light. This is the 4.5 US gallon DEF tank, and you'll also find the electrocution hazard because of that not being insulated. As we move to the right in between the two axles, two bottle storage locations for your SCBA bottles. As we move up into the compartment, you have a large pull-out and tilt downward shelf. Both mechanisms for release are on the right and left side. Once again, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel. As we move now to the rear of the axle, you'll find the silver cap. This is your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. As we move just underneath the last compartment here, we're going to find your stabilizer pads. Also, as we move into the compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray at the bottom, adjustable shelf, and in the top section, you'll find a shoreline outlet. That outlet is active when plugged into shoreline power. Release on the tray, lower right-hand corner. We do have an additional stabilizer camera. This is the stabilizer location, and additionally, we have some warning placards regarding fall. This is right next to the stairs that go up to the top. This is a fall. Always face the vehicle while climbing, and then once again, warning crush hazard because of the stabilizer movement. Full view of your apparatus with the compartments open on the driver's side. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus. We have compartments open here also. Let's start on the left-hand side, first starting with a danger electrocution hazard. Equipment is not insulated. Also, an injury here, fall injury, fall hazard. Do not ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. As we move down, we have deck light switch. That's a cupped switch to turn on those lights. And as we move into the compartments here, let's start first at the top with the emergency master. This is a stop push button. To the right, you'll find your override. It's a protected switch. Stabilizer power is a green indicator light and switch next to it, and then a diagnostic USB interface location. As we move down, you'll find stabilizer control. This is actually on a coiled cord. It does pull about 15 feet out from the rear of the apparatus. And to the left, we have aerial stability. I would like to point this plaque out regarding the aerial stability hazard. Make sure that you set up on firm surfaces, place the pads underneath the stabilizer jacks, and extend stabilizer beams and lower jacks onto pads. Failure to comply could cause injury or death. This is going to be your compartment that houses all of your ground ladders and long-handled tools. As we move to the left at the bottom of the compartment, you're going to find a pressure hazard. As we move also to the right, American flag Eagle Pierce logo. This is your aerial inlet at the rear. You'll also find we have a gauge located with that and also a inclinometer from left to right. As we move inside the pan door, this is the aerial drain. It is an 1.5-inch ball valve locally controlled. We have 2 anchor points at the rear of the vehicle, and these are warnings regarding direct pull only. They're at 6,000 pounds each. As we move up to the chute for your hose, you'll find an entanglement hazard here because of that line coming from aloft. Also, hose bed lights, switch located here in the cup switch above your brake, turn, reverse, and also emergency light housing. Full view of the side of the vehicle from the passenger side. Let's start at the rear. This is the stabilizer and once again crush injury hazard. As we move to the right, you'll find a pull-out tray, release mechanism located on the right, and also an adjustable shelf in the upper portion, and also the stabilizer pads, same configuration as you have on the driver's side. This is the Shoreline outlet. Once again, this will become live when plugged into Shoreline power. Here's a sample of the tray in the full outright position. It will lock into position, release once again, lower right. As we move just over the rear axle, you'll find additional storage and also an SCBA bottle storage location. Moving forward to that location, we have pegboard here for your toolboard mounting, also additional SCBA bottle storage, 2 in between the rear axle, 1 forward of the rear axle. As we move to the forward section, I would like to point this out. Warning, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move forward of that, you'll find folding wheel chocks in the lower section. As we move to the top, you're going to find once again a Shoreline powered outlet. Here is the tray in the full outright position, locked into place. Let's move up to the top where you'll find your stabilizer camera at the top and then an additional storage location on the pan door. As we move down to the midsection or pump panel on the passenger side, let's identify a few items here. Same crosslays that we had on the passenger side, but to the left we've got an extension cord reel, and then to the right we've got all of our crosslays and a warning placard regarding entanglement hazard. As we move down, you'll find a warning regarding fall. Always face the vehicle while climbing onto it. Inside this compartment, pan door gains you access to the foam drain. It's a quarter turn. You can see it's currently in line. As we move to the right, you'll find a warning placard regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious. Pierce American flag Eagle, large diameter passenger side inlet. And then also we have a large diameter passenger side discharge. To the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. And at the top, you'll find the reel rewind and also indication on how long the cord reel is. We do have a primer drain and also passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is the 2.5-inch passenger side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled at the ball valve, female inlet. At the bottom, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move toward the cab area now. We'll start at the rear section of the cab. Let's start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. We also have a door lock latch, window control, and grab handle. As we move inside, you'll find push on or off white or red lenses. Those are for the lights to the rear. As we move now to the forward position, affixed to the door panel in the officer space, placard information, in addition with a door lock, latch, window control, and grab handle. Your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, airbag. There is a warning placard here regarding that airbag. Please do not mount anything within the vicinity of the airbag. You also have in the upper portion a glove box. Let's move down to the dash area. Just left of the dash area is where we'll start first. We do have some 12-volt outlets and also an air horn located in this area. This is the push button for the air horn. As we move to the 12-volt access, we have 2 barrel style and 2 USB style outlets. We're now at the back of the pedestal. I'd like to see the lift and turn latch gains you access to the override location. These are going to be your 3 overrides for extend, retract, right, left, and up and down. We also have a warning placard here regarding tip hazard, because if you short jack any of this, there is the possibility of tip hazards. As we look now to the pedestal, we'll start at the very top of the pedestal with the intercom system. We do have a volume control, also an on-off switch, and listen or talk. It is a momentary push down to talk. As we move now just down from this location, you'll find your emergency stop. This is a push button, and then also a manual basket leveling disable. It's a protected switch. As we move down, we've got tip tracking lights, and then your under basket lights, which are underneath the aerial device. We do have an aerial speed, slow, normal, and fast. And then just to the right, this is your emergency hydraulic power. Further to the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone. Tremendous amount of information right here. It's a touch screen and also has function buttons just underneath that. See the owner's manual for more information on this device. As we move to the nozzle control on the left for stow and deploy, stream fog, we also have lower raise, right and left, ladder control for extend, retract, right, left, and lower and raise. As we move to the cover, you'll find additional warning and danger placard information. Please visit this and take a look at them. This is a 100-foot steel aerial platform. We have a load chart at a 35-mile-an-hour wind condition, waterway dry, and then also waterway charged. We do have nozzle monitor positions also. And what I would like to point out down at the very bottom, there are some capacities based on following conditions that have asterisks. To the left is the 1911 testing information placard. On your ladder, you do have an external ladder, which is a 14-foot roof, and then also a compartment which has additional storage location. As we move now to the front section of your aerial device, let's take a look at some of the items here. First, emergency stop push button. As we move down, aerial speed and also manual basket leveling. We do have some tip tracking lights and also under basket lights. And then also just down at the bottom, we have our nozzle control. We have the lower and raise, right and left, and stream, which would be straight stream or fog. Let's go ahead and move just to the right of this location. This is a portable ladder control. You have your extend, retract, right, left, and lower and raise. That device can be moved to a variety of different locations, and I'll show you that next. Here's your Pierce command zone that we previously talked about, and then also an audible alarm here. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to brighten or dampen. We do have air located also on the device. That's what this location is, your connection point, and then also a life safety harness attachment point. This is going to be just a different angle for what we're looking at here. As we look to the left of this location, you're going to find an additional storage location for SCBA masks. As we look also, you have a waterway dry, waterway charged plaque, and also nozzle positions. We also have additional warning and danger placard. As we move to the left, this is the device where you would insert the control for your joysticks, and then also one on the right hand side. Same configuration as we do on the left side. We do have some warning information here. This is for your life ladder, life winch, life eye, and life support. Please familiarize yourself with these warning placards. As we move down, you also have 20 amp plug located at the top section. Additional storage at the back section of the bucketed area. As we move to the forward section, you'll find your master stream device. Also included, we have two discharges, one on the left side, 2.5 inch, and then one on the right side, 2.5 inch, which is difficult to see here in this image. But as we move outward, I have an additional image that will show that. The next set of images are going to be that underneath the chassis. This is the location for your tow if you need to be towed. There are two eyelets located underneath which are specifically called out for towing of the apparatus. This is also going to be the reservoir for your cab lift wheel chock storage location. We're now to the rear of the apparatus. At each point of entry for personnel, we do have perimeter lighting located at the step areas. We'll now take a look at the chassis engine area. As we look, this is an additional picture here of the reservoir for your cab lift cylinders. Please note that it will change when the cab is in the upright or in the lowered position. Also 12-volt jumper cables, positive and negative. Your vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension. And I would like to point out, when your cab is in the full upright position, this is a safety bar to allow you to put into place manually to prevent any type of injury if you have any type of failure of the cylinders. As a reminder, it is not intended to lower the cab back onto this device. We also have some danger regarding the fan shroud. There is a moving fan inside at the front section of the engine. Let's go ahead and take a look with the aerial in the partial upright position. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the front section of the aerial device. Emergency warning lights on the passenger and driver side. We also have some lights forward facing on the front section of the aerial device. And then also two lights, one passenger, one driver, as a downward facing flood. We also have rubber stoppers here, located on the lower section of the bottom of the bucketed area. Also a downward spray and drain. As we move, this is a better image now of that 2.5 inch discharge on the driver's side that we were unable to see. This is part of the life bracket system. There is one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. Here's that additional emergency light side facing. And then at the very top, unit identifier 43. If you have any questions regarding the video or questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations, Quincy, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37090. Congratulations and thank you.